It's time now to go to the very essence of this whole problem. If we gave everyone in this room 1 acre of land to grow any food you choose, what would you grow? What should you grow? Well, at all my college and university lectures, the students all then know what they want to grow. I haven't figured out what that is yet. What is that? Yeah, they all ask me if they can grow this, marijuana. And I tell them, sure, it's a great idea. It probably should be the male hemp plants, very nutritious. And remember, we're talking about food here. Well, on this 1 acre that we give you, you could raise 1 grass-fed cow, just like many would want you to, thinking it's fully sustainable, just like that New York Times best-selling author does. But in most areas of the world, 1 acre is not going to be enough. You're going to need 5, 10, even up to 20 acres. So you'd have to go next door and you have to borrow some land from your neighbor. You're already off on the wrong foot. Or you could go this route. You could plant on just half your acre this, kale. Yeah, or any one of a number of thousands. It could. Or any one of a number of thousands of different plants to choose from. Kale has an amazing assortment of micro and macronutrients. In fact, kale has over 45 different, thus far, recognized phytonutrients. Each one of these, individually, will increase your immune response, help reduce the likelihood you'll develop cancer, and provide you with many important anti-inflammatory properties. You can't find any of these phytonutrients in your cow. Kale has a perfect ratio of omega-3 fatty acids, and it has fiber. And when looking at global growing applications, how very cool is this? Kale will actually continue to grow through extremes of temperature, from -5 degrees all the way through 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, and after you pick the leaves, does anybody know what happens? New ones grow back. New little kale leaves grow. I bet your cow can't do that. Yeah, it's amazing. And on the other half an acre that you have left over, you could plant this, quinoa. Or you could plant any one of a number of thousands of different plants. It's another power food that provides a gluten-free source of protein, a balanced and complete amino acid profile. It's quite healthy. So there you have it. If you used your 1 acre plus borrowed land for grass-fed livestock, you'd end up with 100 to 400 pounds of a type of food that's implicated in numerous disease states. And along the way, you've produced 3 to 4 tons of methane and carbon dioxide, and you've used 20 to 30,000 gallons of water. In most cases, you're going to use 1 million to 2 million gallons of water for that 1 cow. Or instead, if you used your acre of land to grow something like kale and quinoa, you've produced 15,000 pounds of food that's infinitely healthier for you to eat and for our planet to grow. Any of you like tomatoes? Lycopene and all? Sure. Well, you could sliver off and use just 1/8 of your acre in the period, and you could grow 30,000 pounds of them on that little eighth of an acre in the period of time it takes to grow your cow over 2.5 years. With all the kale and quinoa and tomatoes, you could feed yourself and your family and your neighbors, and you could even have a few thousand pounds of wonderful food left over. So you know what you could do? You could box up some of that food and you could send it to all those starving children in Ethiopia. It can be done. It's quite an amazing difference, isn't it? And now imagine extrapolating that model out, or variations thereof, in terms of global use of our resources. And now answer that question about how sustainable raising grass-fed livestock really is. That's what I'm asking him. I didn't last very long there. Okay, so it's time to go back to that very first photo that we saw that's not Brazil, okay? You need to know that this is in the northeast section of Victoria, Australia, where I was researching the ecological effects of their food choices. And instead of seeing blue skies and green grass and rolling hills and things like that, I like taking a closer look at things like this. So here's what I see in that photo. I see this: depletion of land, air, food, water, inefficient use of our resources. It's happening there as quickly as anywhere else in the world. But I also see something else, which is the main reason that I visited this specific area to research. Now, lock in this view for just a moment, please. We're all going to just take a walk, and we're going to walk down the road just a few hundred yards, literally. And this is what we see. This 1,000-year-old forest is what that cattle ranch used to be. And it's the home to numerous insects, plants, animals. There are 3 different types of eucalyptus trees growing here, and one animal in particular that I was looking for, which is now endangered due to destroying its home. It's this little guy. All of his family members were killed. Thousands each year are. He now lives in a small, remote rescue area in that forest, and he represents species everywhere on our planet that are being devastated by cattle or other livestock operations on land, fishing in our oceans, lack of awareness about food choice, which is propelling all of this, and politics. In fact, koalas are predicted to become extinct in just 20 years by those very few researchers and kind caretakers who are close to this situation. It's quite sad. And that's what I see in that very first photo, which now that I think about it, actually does have something to do with Brazil, after all, and Russia, and China, and the US, and nearly every other country in the world now, doesn't it?